And we are back. Welcome to my custom tactics video on how to deal with the current meta in EASFC. I'm talking the 4-3-2-1s, the 4-2-2s, and the 4-4-2s. This is how you play against those teams. This is how you get wins.
Oh, really?
Now, if you missed my Road to Glory champs run last week, basically I went 6-6 and then changed to these tactics. And from that point on, went from 6-6 to 14-6, and ever since I've played 10 games in Rivals and won all 10, and I've also done Champs qualifying for this week, and I went 5-0 in Champs qualifying. I've literally won every game since I changed these tactics, because in my opinion, this is currently the best way of dealing with, as I say, the current meta in EASFC. Now, let's jump across to the squad screen right now, and you will see that the formation that we are using for these tactics is the 4-3-3 second variation. Now, as I said, this is, in my opinion, the best setup for dealing with 4-3-2-1, 4-4-2, and 4-2-2-2. I will say it at the start of the video. I'll explain why at the end of the video, but do not use these tactics against 4-2-3-1. There are a lot of people that still run 4-2-3-1. This formation will not work against 4-2-3-1. But like I say, the high end, the meta players right now, they're all running 4-4-2s, 4-2-2s, and 4-3-2-1s. This setup is how you deal with it. Now, like I say, it's a 4-3-3 second variation. We will start off with the tactics. Now, we do have press after possession loss, 40 width and 71 depth.
Wait a minute!
Now you have become the very thing you swore to destroy.
It is part of the meta right now. I can't deny that. So I'm still keeping it like that. Like I say, these tactics are for on the ball and how you deal with press after possession loss and high depth at the moment from those other formations. It does not mean that we shouldn't use it ourselves, because at the end of the day, like I say, it is the hardest to play against right now. So we want to give ourselves the best chance of winning the ball back. What is important is what we do when we get the ball. And when we get the ball, we do the complete opposite to what everyone else is doing. We go unbalanced and we go on possession. Now, I keep it on 60 width. That's because I like my players to be drifting in and out of the wide areas. I have players in the box set to 6, which means that 3 players are always going to be getting into the box. And corners and free kicks, I always say, leave up to your personal preference. I like them on 1, purely because I have players with aerial and power header that play on the front post. When I have corners and free kicks, we're set to 1. So that's just why I have my setup like that at the moment. That can change depending on the players in the team. As for the instructions themselves, we will start with the goalkeeper. I always have my goalkeeper set to come for crosses and sweeper keeper. We are playing a very high depth, so just in case those balls do come in behind, or they want to play those big early crosses with the whip pass trait, you've got your keeper coming out and dealing with crosses. In terms of the 2 centre-backs, just have them exactly how they are. Stay back, normal interceptions, stick to position. If you've got players with high stamina, you could then potentially go for aggressive interceptions, something I did a lot of last year, but I feel like fewer people are on direct passing this year, and driven passing isn't quite as overpowered as it was last year. So for now, I'm leading on normal interceptions just to preserve the stamina of my centre-backs. For the full-backs, we have them on stay back and overlap. The reason for this is because you have a manual instruction on the D-pad to set your full-backs to get forward in attack. So I have any reason at all to have them on anything other than stay back while attacking, because if we are then losing and we do then need our full-backs to go into attack, just do it on the D-pad. It's already set up for you. And overlap, you will see why when we get to the actual midfield players. They'll then start tucking in, which will allow the fullbacks to overlap as and when. For the CDM, they are set to cut passing lanes, stay back while attacking, stick to position, and cover centre. I will say this to you right now, the CDM is one of the most important players in this team, if not the most important. Pretty much everything good about this setup runs through the CDM. So you need to make sure they have good passing, and obviously they need to be very good at defending, because the chances are they're going to have to be dealing with a lot of play defensively as well. So yeah, cut passing lanes, stay back while attacking, cover centre, and stick to position, because you always want them to be the link-up player between the defence and the midfield. As for the 2 centre mids, we have them set to balance, stay on edge of the box, free roam, and cover wing. By doing this, it allows us to be a little bit more fluid in our style of play. So you've got the 2 centre mids set on free roam. They're going to drift in and out of the team. They're on cover wing because sometimes, like I say, the fullbacks may go on the overlap and we need them to drift out wide to cover that. And stay on the edge of the box will make a little bit more sense once we get to the final end of the team. We will then go to the striker, because the striker is another player that is a bit like the CDM. They are a focal point. They are on stay central, they are on target player, and they are on stay forward. So essentially, This team is fluid in the outside areas, but solid and streamlined in the middle. And the reason I have them set to target player is because they're basically playing like a false 9. I think this could work as a 4-3-3-5, but my personal preference is a 4-3-3-2. I just like the striker to be that little bit further forward. And when they're on stay forward, they stay further forward when you don't have the ball. That's the only reason it's 4-3-3-2, not 4-3-3-5. And the reason they're set to target player is so they can come and be the link-up player, like I said. With all the other players drifting around them, floating around, sometimes they'll just be a pass straight from the CDM into the striker. Do not ignore that pass. Play that pass. There are two ways you can have the striker set up. You can either have a big target player like I do, which is Patrick Kluivert, with the press-proven play style, which means they're very good at shielding. Essentially meaning when I feed that ball into him, he's going to hold it up, he's going to back in, and he's going to keep the ball and bring all the other players into play. Alternatively, you then have the complete opposite. You have a little player. I've sometimes used my Nikita Paris, which I've leveled up through the Evo. She's now 4-star, 5-star. And she also does the job, but completely different style of play. She'll drop in off the front, but then she'll use her agility, her mobility, the 5-star weak foot to play little quick passes around the corner. That is up to you in terms of personal preference. I prefer having a big target player, plus I'm someone who likes putting a lot of crosses. So I like to have a big striker in the box to score goals. But like I say, it can work with small, nimble players as well. And then the wide players are where it gets very interesting. Wide players are set to free roam, come short and get into the box. And this is where it all starts to come together. So like I said, we've already got the two centre mids on free roam and cover wing. What that means is that when these wide players are coming in on the free roam and come short, you'll get a situation where the centre mid and the right wing and left wing will actually start swapping places. And I've got nothing wrong with that because like I said, I'm using the likes of Ricken, Mostovoy. They're essentially all cams, so that's the way I like to run it. They can obviously be slightly quicker players. The quicker the better, I'm sure, but you've got to make sure these players have good passing. Like I know a lot of you run the likes of Moussa Diaby. I just don't think they'd work in this style of setup because they'd have to have a Deadeye or a Maestro just to get the passing to the absolute maximum. Don't get me wrong, you can put those chem styles on those players, and I'm sure you do, but I just feel like these sort of players, the ones that are not quite as fast, but much better at dribbling and much better at passing, they're more suited to this style of play. And they're going to drift in. The centre mids are going to drift out. They're going to create space. The fullback may come round for the overlap. The striker's going to drop in. And we're just so fluid that essentially all these sweats that want to play there, sit in and try and cover passes, they don't know who to cover because everyone's free-flowing all over the place. If they track their runner, you'll end up with a left back moving into right centre mid as Ricken drifts over to left centre mid as we're all free roaming and drifting around, and you pull teams apart to create the attacking angles, and that's where we score the goals. So those are the tactics, those are the instructions. Let's see how it actually works in game.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
So this is a game of Division Rivals that I played a little bit earlier. Division 4, Division Rivals. You can see it already. It's a full meta team. Salah, Griezmann, Evo Ansu Fati, De Jong, Araujo, Teo Hernandez. All the usual suspects. But we're not afraid. We've gone straight into our 4-3-3. We've set out our stall straight away. You can see already our team has got compact because we're on the low width. And we're just waiting for the opportunity to win the ball back. We win it back. And straight away, this is the most important thing that I have to stress. Do not be afraid to pass the ball backwards. There is nothing wrong with passing it backwards. This whole setup is about creating opportunities. You see that, unfortunately, the wrong pass was played. I was trying to play that out to Mostovoy. It didn't work. But we win the ball back. Again, we're safe. We're not rushing. We're taking our time. No simple passes. That's fine. We can play those balls out wide. We're trying to beat the press. We're trying to get around them. Comes into Mostovoy. Ball over the top to Kluivert. Good opportunity. Probably could have done better. We do actually end up scoring from this corner, but sadly, as you can see, I stopped clipping it at the end of that point. But this is what I was going on about, how you see I have Tim Cahill on the front post right there. He actually wins that header with the aerial and the power header. A few minutes later, again, you see we win the ball back with Roy Keane, and straight away, we're into our style of play. No easy passes on, that's fine. We'll play it back. We'll wait until the press after the possession loss ends, and then we can go into our style of play. Very, very simple, very calm, very casual. There's the switcher play, another very useful tactic in this setup. But again, they're tight, they're compact. We're not fussed. We're being patient. We're just going to play the ball around and wait for the gaps. Here you can see the free roam working. Rui Costa's tucking in. Ricken flipped around. Nothing on. Go back again. Try and do it again. Now the important bit. And I'll pause it and I'll go back there. Because we've been passing it around for so long, they've got themselves in a bit of a muddle. They've got themselves frustrated. They've played the actual team press. And what ends up happening is as this ball goes into Cahill here, you'll see what we've actually managed to do is pull Laurent Blanc out of position. Now, the moment you see a centre-back has been pulled out of position by either one of your centre-mids or the striker, this pass is on. We play it in, ball over the top. Rui Costa's in behind, another little ball over the top. Kluivert's in again. This time he gets brought down. It's a penalty. It's 2-0.
Oh, yeah. It's all coming together.
Final clip of this game. You see we win the ball back there. Once again, to beat the press, we play it back to the goalkeeper. He's had enough. He lets it sit there. He doesn't know what to do. We've beaten his press. We've beaten his meta style of play. And eventually, he just gives up. And it's as simple as that. Very, very calm. Very, very casual. No stress. Just playing it nice and simple. Patient build-up play. Waiting for the opportunities to come. As you can see when we get to the match facts, that we actually had 71 possession in that game. We only had 3 shots because we only needed 3 shots. We waited for our opportunities to strike and we took them when they came. That is basically how it works, but we have another game to show for you as well. Now again, we have ourselves a full meta team here. This one even more extreme. You've got a 4-3-2-1. Salah, Haaland, Vinicius, front 3. Walker, Van Dijk, Tonali, Tchouameni, Koundé, Mendy. You know, what I would like to call the champs team of this year. This is the full meta team for this year. And once again, we are just trying to impose our style of play. So again, the moment we win the ball back, play it to the goalkeeper. Play it safe. Wait for the press to die out. It only lasts for 7 seconds, so just wait for it to die out. Play little passes around the back, nice and simple. Let them make the mistakes. Let them overcommit, because then the spaces will start to come. There's Risa on the overlap. He gives it away, it goes out for a throw-in. It doesn't work perfectly every time. However, straight away, this whole clip is exactly what we are about. We're on the ball, we're making passes. You see how Ricken has drifted in from right wing already? He's basically come into the left centre mid position and Rui Costa's now covered him out wide. Mostovoy's tucked in at left centre mid. Cahill drifts out. There's free movement all around. Everyone's making space and working together. And unfortunately, that pass was supposed to go to Ricken. Instead, it went to Cahill. But we don't panic. We stick with our runners. Keane sticks with the midfielder. Scott comes in with Vinicius, wins the ball back. And straight away, once again, back to the keeper. Let their press after possession loss dissipate. Play the ball nicely around. Let them cover the passes. That was a risky pass that I probably shouldn't have played, but we got away with it. He's now started committing players. Modric is out of position. Tchouameni's out of position. Mendy's out of position. We bring it around. Ricken plays it in. There's Cahill making the run into the box. And unfortunately, I've tried to style on them. I should have had a bit more composure there and just given a normal shot or a green time shot into the corner. That would have been a goal. But that right there, that's exactly what we're all about. So here's the final clip from this game. As you can see, it is their free kick at the moment, but they're frustrated. We've been possession starving them the whole game. We're playing our style of play. We're closing off the passing angles. We win the ball back. They've overcommitted because of their press. Kluivert's away. He gets through on goal, and this time the chip is executed perfectly, and we take our opportunity. But that only comes because they've got themselves frustrated. We're 30 minutes into the game, and essentially they've not seen any of the ball. They're trying to play their sweaty, direct passing tactics, but we're playing ourselves perfectly. We're keeping our team in shape. We're making sure that the right players are marking the right players, winning the ball back, and then immediately recycling the ball backwards, waiting for our opportunities to strike. And as they get more and more and more frustrated, every time we win the ball back off of them, they become even more eager to win the ball back. So then they start overcommitting players out of position, which gives us the perfect opportunity to play those balls in behind. And then we get ourselves our goals and our wins. So final thoughts on this setup before you then take it into your own games if you are going to play like this. Firstly, as I say, the 2 key players of this team are the CDM and the striker. They are the link-up players between everything. But for me, the most important of all is the CDM because they are the player that links everything together. If you imagine the 4-4-2, the 4-2-2, or the 4-3-2-1, in all of those setups, when the other team is defending, your CDM is open all the time. I'll put all 3 of the setups alongside each other and you'll actually see that in all scenarios, the CDM is the one that is free. Use that player as often as possible. That is how you beat the press. That is how you stop them from getting the ball back off you. And it's also how you start frustrating them, which will then allow you to create the space to get in behind them because they'll then start pulling midfielders out of position to try and win the ball back off your CDM. That's when you'll then hit them in behind. The reason why this won't work against a 4-2-3-1, which obviously I spoke about at the start of the video, and again, I'll put the overlay for you here, is that when you're playing against that, the CDM has the opposing cam on them. And essentially, your most important player then becomes very ineffective or becomes far too risky of a pass to play because the opposing cam is just going to be all over them. And for me, it's not worth the risk. The way you deal with that, the way you deal with a 4-2-3-1, is you then play a 3-5-2, which allows you to have the space around the outside and then gives you those two CDMs to feed in the gaps between the opposing three cams. And if you want to see my tactics video for the 3-5-2, let me know down in the comment section. I might bring that to you another week because, like I say, I do have to go to that formation when I am playing against 4-2-3-1s as well. Thank you very much for watching this video. Hopefully it's been very informative to you. Hopefully this will allow you to get some more wins against some of those meta rats in champs. Thank you very much for watching once again. I will see you very, very soon.